said, come on, let's get started. I said,
Yeah.
yeah, the girlfriend bar was
And then this police officer here tried to steal your seat. We had
Oh.
Yeah, I had to kick her out.
That's all right.
And it's the third time you bring the beer.
I can do that.
Is Holly coming, or you can, or
Jeff will be here.
who? Oh, Jeff White.
Good. My buddy.
It's a lot nastier out than
Yeah.
we anticipated.
Yeah.
Getting worse now?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty slick out
I
there.
guess we better cancel this tonight.
You're never gonna get stuck here. We have to solve all these problems.
What is
It thunders when it's snowing. Yeah.
How's it going there, Mr.
I've
Bill?
never seen that or heard
I
that before.
was down by the high school.
I've only been here an hour now. Are you good? No, I came in 5 minutes.
Really happens.
Yeah, it's snowing here. That's the problem.
Excuse me,
I think it probably started in
Maybe I will sit. Sitting's not comfortable, but I think I'll try it for a while. The old spine can't handle sitting too long. But I'm gonna give it a shot.
Okay, since we got everybody here, well, I gotta swear some people in, that's all. We're gonna start off, before we start the meeting, we're not in the meeting right now. We're gonna swear you three in, as council members. Raise your right hand. No, not you, you're sworn in.
Okay. I swore enough.
Yeah. Okay, for the oath of office, and then repeat after me, then after I, just say your name.
Robert H. Scott.
Scott,
Do solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of this state,
of this state
and the ordinances of the municipal corporation,
and the ordinance
An
of
ordinance
the
of
corporation,
the municipal corporation.
that I will not be influenced
that I will not be influenced
by any consideration
by any consideration
Consideration.
except that of merit and fitness in the appointment or discharge of employees.
What?
Except that of merit and fitness
Except for the merit and fitness.
in the appointment or discharge of employees.
Discharge of the employees.
That I will not make
I will not make
Will not make
or authorize
or authorize
the expenditure of public money
expenditure of public money
otherwise
otherwise
than for adequate consideration
for adequate consideration
and efficient service
and efficient service
to the municipal corporation.
to the municipal corporation.
That I will faithfully,
that I will
Faithfully,
honestly,
honestly
and impartially,
and impartially
in all other respects,
in all
all
other
other
respects
discharge my duties as councilperson
discharge my
discharge
duties
my duties as councilperson.
during my continuance therein.
during my continuance therein.
So help me God.
So help me
God.
God.
Congratulations, you're in. I need,
Signatures?
you have to need your.
ID and birth certificate.
Yeah, I got it.
Take them with
Now
you.
we got a quorum.
My mom's
And
doesn't
your,
count.
and your credit card number and your bank.
Or just give me the credit card.
Yeah.
I think that would, because if you stroke out in the middle of the meeting.
Okay.
Sign the bottom. Mom got signed too, I'm not here and then down here too.
Yeah, you sign down here, and just print or whatever up top there. And then I sign down the bottom. Hi, Jeff.
I'm calling all the right food.
That's
Hey,
right.
April.
Nothing like being hired and fired, just hanging in.
Thank you. You been there that long?
Not quite.
Come here.
Hey, Angie.
We don't have room for all that.
Yeah.
Oh, here Angie.
That was that thing from Owens for that.
Sorry, that
For
was
the
me.
guy.
Oh, that's right, for Jeff
Yeah.
Davidson?
No, to get money for the park,
No, they already
the
did
guy
that.
from the mud inn.
Oh, gotcha,
You guys,
okay.
we got chairs over here, you
I don't
want
have
chairs?
his address, I just got his name, and maybe you can Google
From
him
the,
or
yes,
something.
I can find him that way.
Sit down, make yourself comfortable, we're, they're not real comfortable, we don't have.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
okay.
so proud of you guys for trying to take him stand.
Okay, we might as well get started here, call the meeting to order and take the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Joyce?
Yep.
Scott?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Stan?
Here.
Rob?
Yep.
Steve?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to open it for appointment of president council. We need nomination or
I'll nominate Scott Harrison for president.
I'll second it.
anybody else? Okay, roll call then.
Joyce, you nominated?
No, Rob.
And you seconded?
Yeah.
Rob?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yeah.
Bill?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes, yes.
Stan?
Oh, Yes.
Sorry, Stan?
Yeah.
Steve? Sorry.
Yes.
You probably have to abstain.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna need discussion and approval of minutes. We should have 3 sets of them there. From December 3rd, December 10th, December 26th.
We have them kind of sort of bigger.
There's an extra set.
I got one. Forgot poor Bonnie over there.
I already gave on you.
Oh, did you?
And me.
Thank you.
And
That's
And you
okay.
got one?
Yeah.
She got it for
You got one, April?
I got, yep.
Angela's got it for us. It's okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Do you have to do them each separate or just all of them?
Can we do them as one once?
No, do them each separately.
Okay.
So this is the December 3rd?
December 3rd one, first
Okay.
one.
We're gonna do a roll call for that.
Yes.
Okay, Joyce?
Yeah.
Rob?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes, only if you're a council member at that point. If, like, if
Oh,
you were-
Steve, or Stan can't.
Or if you
I'm
were
sorry,
absent
I'm
from that
sorry, 'cause
meeting,
you-
you can't vote on it
Yeah, because you wasn't on council on these December
Okay.
ones, so you cannot vote for that
Yeah,
part.
makes sense.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept it December 10th then.
Okay.
Second?
Scott,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Joyce.
Yeah,
Okay, now December 26th.
I'll make a motion to accept December 26th.
I'll second it.
Is that Bill? Rob,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Joyce.
Okay, and we'll go over the discussion, approval of finance report. Got enough stuff, huh?
Everything's finalized and looks pretty good to me.
Angela, everything in the vehicle, okay?
you can sign this one, right?
Is this for this?
Stan?
Stand
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
Yes.
yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sign here.
Okay, everybody,
No, that's 12:31.
we need to make, we got any more discussion on the financial report?
Being that this is the first time I've seen this, I appreciate you let me just take a glance at it. I mean, I can sign it, but I have no previous knowledge of any of these numbers. It's not, I'm not saying I don't want to sign it, I just,
No, that's fine.
you know, just don't want to.
We'll, I mean, we'll show you, with too, if you have any
That's the
questions.
check.
That's a check that we're written, yeah, that's reconciled.
Okay.
As far as the revenue status and all that stuff, I think, and you said everything, right now, everything's appropriated correctly and nobody sees any issues as of right now, just starting out, right?
No.
Everything's
There's
official
gonna
now, we're finding official from the county then, right? On our
Yes,
voter
there's gonna
status,
be
okay.
December and January
Okay.
reconciliation and check
Okay.
payments to sign. So, all four payments and the quarter.
Will it cause any difficulty or if I look this over and sign it either at the next meeting or in a couple of days? Or do I need to sign it tonight?
Yeah, sign it tonight, or I mean, somebody else can sign it. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody don't have to sign it.
No,
I mean,
You don't have to sign it if you don't want to.
it's just to reconcile all the
Right.
transfers of funds, is what it is, so.
And just write abstain on there.
and again, I'm not saying I don't want to sign it, but I would like the opportunity to kind of look it over and,
Understand what it is.
yeah, yeah.
Dick, what do you got? You sign it. I'll sign it.
People will get so confused tonight.
Okay, so now,
Maybe that's one.
so now we're gonna make the motion to approve the minute, or the financial report.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. We got a first and a second on the approval for the financial report.
Who was first, who was second?
Scott was
Scott
first.
Steve second.
Just a quick question, please. This one I could have signed 131, but this one I couldn't have, could I?
Yeah,
Because-
right.
Because I wasn't.
Right.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Scott,
Yes.
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Ian,
Yes.
Because I'm
Rob.
hoping that goes in work. I'm actually driving and on computer within 3 days. So I'll be able to
Okay, special guest, we got Jeff Wagner from the Commissioner's Office, and Ken Major from EMS. Who's doing the talking? You doing the talking, Jeff?
He's gonna start.
Or you gonna
He's
start?
more
Okay.
eloquent than I.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that. Well, I appreciate you guys having me at your council meeting tonight, and I know I was here,
Couple months ago.
it wasn't long ago.
Yeah.
And what we've done there is, we did a recognition ceremony for the EMTs, and we've done that throughout the county. So in third and fourth quarter of 2013, we recognized all the volunteers for the 35 years of service that they put in. Now, there's not too many of them that were actually here all that time, but there are a few. And Bettsville has had a squad since 1978, and Seneca County EMS has been in operation for that time, for 35 years. So it was kind of a big event for us, and one of the things that we did, and the Board of Commissioners hired me to try and get accomplished, is to move Seneca County EMS that next 35 years. We've got some work to do there, and really where we're at is we're at a critical shortage for volunteers, and I think we all know that, and I think we have for some time. Really, the need for manpower is at an all-time high because our run volume's not decreasing. Luckily, it's really not increasing, but it's not decreasing. So the need for us is just as great now as it was in 1978. The real issue is that we don't have the manpower that we once experienced. So we looked into reasons why that is and some of the things that we're doing. So we kind of developed like a 3 or 4 phase plan to move into the future. And the first part of that was the recognition piece. Let the guys know that are here and have been here that we really truly appreciate what they do for us. And I appreciate this council and the townships all coming together and doing that, and doing a real good job of it. I think it was well received by the volunteers, and it was well received by the townships and villages. So the next phase of what we're trying to do to move EMS towards the future is informational. So I'm coming out, and I've met with the board several times. As a group and as individuals, I've met with them, and we've brainstormed some ideas, and we've come up with quite a few. And we're gonna talk about that in a few ways. Really what we're trying to do is get conversation started, an actual dialogue between the village councils and the boards in the township to come together and brainstorm what it is we can do to keep doing what we do, at least be effective. And I've got some documentation, and I'll pass that out to you as far as, and I know you get this stuff, is the out-of-service schedules and things like that that come to your fax machine or your email. So what we're trying to do is we want to get, and in this village and the township here would be Liberty Township and the village of Bettsville, which are the two players that signed the agreement in 1978. One of the mayor at that time was Ronald Harrison. I bet you guys are probably related somehow. And then the only other one that I know that's still involved would be in Liberty Township, was Tim Lynch. So there's a lot of historical knowledge right here and right there. So we're going to try and tap into that and get your guys' knowledge, wisdom, experience, and you live here. You live in this as your community. You know what you need. We're not going to come out here and even try to pretend to tell you what you need. But what we need is discussion amongst all the entities, the elected officials, to let us know how you want us to go with that. Some of the ideas that we've come up with, and I'll just cut right to the chase on it, is if we're going to fund it. Seneca County, the commissioners, board of commissioners, and the county in general are very well invested in EMS. We have almost a $500,000 budget that we put forward every year in the support of EMS. And really what that pays for is everything that's on this agreement, all the things that we do as far as communications, the ambulance, all the equipment, the oversight, the state funding, pharmacy board, medical direction, it's a laundry list. And a lot of that funds come back to us from the bills that we send out. So we bill for service. But really we've never paid personnel in the history of our system. I'm not, then there's no way that we could with that amount of money. $500,000 budget running 7 ambulances. I've researched it all over the state, neighboring counties, Sandusky County, Wyandotte County, and a lot of the township operations that are working. And with the budget that we have, we simply would never be able to afford it. One of the commitments that we made 5 years ago was we put in service the Echo unit, which I know has got a lot of good press, and it's a very valuable resource to us. But it's only one guy, and it's 12 hours a day. And we do it during the day because that's our most common time to be out of service. And I'll go ahead and pass these out. I don't need to hang on to them. The out of service schedules, which pretty much show you where our greatest needs are. And really what that information puts out to you is we know we have 7 ambulances that are potentially in service at any given time, but in reality, we've only got 4 in service at any one time. And sometimes at night we have more, but that's based on people's work schedules. We want people to have jobs. We want people to be able to support their families. And we can't expect them to do the work of a full-time EMS agency for free.
Right.
So what I came out to do is talk to you about that. I've kind of spilled out a whole bunch of information there. What I'd like to do is, and with Jeff's help, answer any questions you have of us, and then maybe get some conversation started amongst you guys. This is a month worth of out of service schedule, so the dates are at the bottom. They kind of come out, but they're not copies. These are actually individual reports. So I'm gonna leave them for you. I know you already have them, but
So each of those is different.
each of those is different. And this is actually the agreement, which I only made one copy of, which was kind of short-sighted on my part, and I apologize. But that's the actual agreement from 1978 that we still function under. And it's old, but it's still effective. Everything on there is absolutely true. Where we really run into an issue, though, is, especially in this district, and I'll talk specifically about Bettsville, is daytime coverage. Most of the time, you're out of service from 06 to 1800. So from 6 in the morning till 6 at night, you don't have an ambulance. You have an ambulance, you don't have anybody in it. So a truck's just a truck until you put certified, licensed people on board. And we do the best we can with mutual aid, but I don't want it to be an issue where you think you've got something that you don't. So it's my job to inform you that 12 hours a day, you basically have a piece of furniture. And until we get manning, staffing.
So what do you think the issue of the manning is getting more resources? I mean, obviously you can't solve money. I mean, is there any other intangibles or things that you can, incentive programs you can put together to help bring people in? And what is why aren't people engaging in it? Is there complexity, or what is the issue?
Well, there's a huge time commitment to being an EMS professional, and whether or not you're a volunteer or you're paid to do it, it is truly a profession because of the education and training that it comes with it. So really the model that seems to be working, at least in this general area, and I'll use Bascom and Hopewell Loudon as an example, is they came together as a board, which is the boards of Hopewell and Loudon Townships, and they formed a board of joint ambulance district, and they put on a very small levy to support personnel. That levy generates about $70,000 a year between those two townships, and they pay their folks a small on-call, what they call EMT volunteer compensation. I think it's called nominal fee by the Department of Labor. Pay them about $3 an hour. And you can do it either way you want. You don't have to call it an hourly rate, because that seems like they're missing the boat on minimum wage if you do that.
Right.
So you call it volunteer compensation stipend, and they've done that and had great success with it. Bascom is able to run 2 ambulances now. They have more than 30 volunteers. And there's a lot of folks that disagree. They say, I cannot believe somebody will do it for $3 an hour. Well, and the whole idea is it's still volunteers. They're still volunteering within their community. You never have to leave your house unless you're going to run. So you're basically on call, and they're going to give you $25 a day or whatever, or $30 a day.
Now, isn't the main problem is, I think like with the volunteers and stuff, that they have to know almost as much as a real doctor or, you know, I mean, and
It
I think
almost
this
seems
is,
that way.
I mean, and they have to have all this
Yeah.
training and stuff,
Absolutely.
and I think that's what scares probably a lot of people off,
I
you know?
absolutely agree with you.
Because years ago, it wasn't like that,
No.
a long time ago, you know?
It used to be a lot simpler than it is now, and as we get older, we think, wow, it was much easier to do
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
you know, back in them days, and I wish we could go back to that.
Well,
with
everybody's
it-
so happy, so you're afraid to touch
Absolutely.
anybody.
And with state
yeah.
mandated licensure
Yeah.
and education of the EMTs, we can't go backwards. And I've had that question asked to me a few times. It's a really good question. We've already diminished our standard of care to the point where we're barely legal. So we can't go any further. Even at this point, I've got some protocols out there that in the right attorney's hands are probably a little sketchy in the way that we do transportation. But we stay above board because we're 90% volunteer or more, and there is a stipulation in the ORC that says as long as you're above 90% volunteer, and just so you know, compensating a volunteer doesn't make them paid people. They're just compensated volunteers. There's a lot of different models. You look at the big cities, you know, Perrysburg Township, Springfield Township, or we can just keep it close to home and look at what Wyandotte County does. Wyandotte County pays $1 an hour to be on the schedule, which is nothing really. I mean, it's an on-call wage, and then they bump them up to $10 an hour actually on a run. So if you have 2 hours invested, you get $20 plus your $24. You just made $64 for the entire day.
Well, does the issue come down to training, or what is the cost of training of these volunteers then? I mean, how is that handled?
Well, the county pays for all training for volunteers, and we had an investment from the townships and villages back, I guess that was 2008 or 9, we passed that resolution, so that the personnel are dealt with and they're the responsibility of the local political subdivision. You guys find them, stand behind them, send them to school. Once they're successful, we'll pay you back 100%. EMT training right now, we have kind of a deal struck because we've been longtime customers of Vanguard Sentinel. They do it for $850 per person. Pretty close to $900 once you get a book in there. The closest to that is Ehobi, and it's $1,300.
So what time frame does it take to get somebody qualified then? roughly?
About 4 months,
Okay.
2 nights a week, and a couple of Saturdays. And we're in the middle of a class now that I'm teaching over on the east side at Bloomville. We do that 2 nights a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we do 8-hour days on a few Saturdays to make sure we get all the hours in. 'Cause I agree with you, ma'am, it is a lot of training. The expectation is very high of the EMS people.
How often you gotta get recertified?
Every 3 years.
Okay.
And we provide all of the certification, the continuing education, which we teach in-house. So we have a significant investment.
Is Bascom now, that $3 you was talking about, that's on the people that's on call that day, right?
Yes, sir.
And then they get a certain amount if they have to go on a run, right?
Yes, sir.
Is it $30 or something like that? I don't know.
You know, I actually don't know the exact amount that they pay them. I know that their nominal fee was based on, and I would have to ask someone who knows the money side of it a lot better than I do. Their nominal fee was based on 20% of what a person in the general location would make if they were working that job full-time. So an average EMT makes about $11 or $12 an hour, so they figured out that 20% of that is $3.14 an hour, whatever it is. And I think they do bump them up. Once they go on the run, they bump them to like $7.50, $8 an
Yeah,
hour.
if they sit there all day and don't have a run, they pay $3.14 or whatever
Yep.
it is. And then, but if
Yep.
they have 1 run or 2 runs,
Right.
they get paid $30 per run or something up there.
It very well may
I
be the
just
30.
use that for a figure.
Sure,
but
yeah.
Each run they go on, they get that much more
Right.
for each run they do,
Yes, sir.
right?
If you look at the 7 squads in the county, some struggle more than others. But Bascom seems to be the one squad that doesn't really have a problem getting volunteers, and that wasn't always the case. I don't know how many years ago they formed that district, but they struggled just like everybody else before that. So that's kind of what got our attention, that might be a good option. the only thing that changed is they formed that joint ambulance district, and that money then goes to compensate those people. The county still provides the ambulance, the training, the equipment, all of that stuff, so that's the only thing that changes. I think our original approach to this one, Ken and I started visiting townships and villages, was if local officials felt that that was a good idea to do something similar in their communities, we think that would be a good idea. Now, we visited with the folks from Green Springs area, we visited with Adams Township, Pleasant, and the village, which he and Holly did that one the other night. And their thought now is to get one gigantic meeting with all of the villages and townships and try and kind of hammer it out in a larger setting. So I guess we're going to try and set that up. But we wanted to be sure and touch base with you guys beforehand.
So are you thinking like a model like where the Village of Bettsville and Liberty Township would be, create a board, is that what you're saying? I mean, is that what you're?
That was our original thing.
That was our original thought.
And my goal, and the girls at the commissioner's office, the county administrator, and the assistant administrator helping me schedule these meetings, so they've probably been in contact with you guys. My goal is to get out to every single elected officials meeting. And so I have 22 meetings scheduled between now and April. And I want to get out to them and get this information flowing. From the 3 meetings we've been to prior to this one, they came to the agreement that they would like to see a large EMS, a countywide EMS district formed. Those things do happen, and they've happened throughout this state. And what that does is it makes their own taxing authority from one member from each board, each village council, each township board, and one person from the commission. It makes a really big meeting, but it becomes your own. You become your own entity. You become your own taxing authority. You become your own leadership, your panel. That could be huge, though. My original thought and my hope was to do this very small, because I'm not a big fan of big government. Because it just doesn't get. It gets clunky.
It gets complicated. Yeah.
Right. So I was thinking if we could get a board together between Liberty Township and the Village of Bettsville, which would be, and we'd have to figure out maybe Jackson Township as well. I plan to meet with them too.
I guess it would be part of Pleasant as well.
And then
Yes.
up to the river in Pleasant.
Because this come up over the summer, and I actually spoke with Julie about it, doing something like what Baskin does with Hopewell and Norton Township. They can only do it by either school districts or by the entire township. So if you were to do a levy, we can't do it by an EMS district or a fire district. It's either got to be by a school district or by the whole township. And somehow or another, Bascom worked it out too, where they give Fostoria a portion of their income off of it because they cover a portion of, or Fostoria covers a portion of one township. And that's as far as we ever got with it at that point.
And we've done some research, and we've got the prosecutor doing some research on the formation of a joint ambulance district, which is what Bascom did, or a joint EMS district. An EMS district is countywide with a bunch of different political entities inside of it, and it can actually span across counties, which has been done in other counties, and it kind of goes into the whole shared services thing. But when we spoke to Julie about this a couple of months ago when we were just hatching this plan, she said that the auditor software does have the ability to pick out addresses based on the fire lines and the EMS line. So I'm not disagreeing with you.
Okay, she didn't.
I just got a little bit of different information.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't know how all that works. That seems very complicated to me.
I'm sure it will be.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is I kind of like the small idea, but I'm willing to do anything, whatever it is that you guys choose as the elected officials in the county, and the township, and the village. We got to move this thing forward. And it needs to be sooner rather than later.
I think the commissioner's office is going to try and set up that meeting. I don't know just when that'll happen, probably in the next few months. And it's going to be quite a challenge to get everybody together. Somebody's not going to be there, but be thinking of it between now and then.
And
What
we're
you
gonna
want to
take it
see
to
and where
everybody.
you want to go.
We're going to take it to every township, every village, even the ones we don't cover. Eden Township, we're going to talk to them. We're going to talk to Jackson. We're gonna talk to Thompson. We're gonna talk to Clinton, all of them. And we're not gonna try and step on anybody's toes, because Clinton pays the city of Tiffin to provide their EMS coverage. And Thompson pays, North Central EMS out of Bellevue. Jackson uses Fostoria. If we do a large levy, we can include everybody and then pay back to those areas that, if they have to pay into the tax, they can pay those back and they can use that money.
But what if everybody
For the
doesn't
contract.
pass the levy?
Absolutely, and
See,
that's my
that's-
concern.
That's the danger.
That's the
The
danger.
danger of
see?
going big is you got a whole
Yeah.
bunch more voters
Yeah.
that may say, I don't
No,
need
no,
that,
I don't
I
need
got,
that,
I
yeah.
got Tiffin
Yeah.
covering me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like to
Yeah.
do the small
Yeah.
thing, because then you know it's Bettsville residents and Liberty Township, and they're going, I'm voting to pay for my squad. Now, it doesn't mean your squad's not gonna run to other districts if it's a
Right.
mutual aid issue.
Right.
But, I mean, we're splitting hairs on that one.
Yeah.
But if you know you're keeping it local, you may not need to put on as big of a levy as, say,
Right.
Hopewell Township, or, I don't know. Property values are different everywhere. You may own a bunch of ground, but not a lot of, not a lot of real estate. I don't know how that works,
So I think what help us understand, we understand how the model works for Hopewell and Loudon or whatever. I mean, so we really have some kind of a structure, how it's put together, so it helps us better understand how to structure something. Because I mean, we talk about this, but there's a lot of things that have to happen to make it work.
I absolutely agree.
So,
And Commissioner Zeller asked me today, it was a good question, and he asked me several times, I had to research it. How much are we talking about? He wants to know real numbers, because he's a facts and figures guy, and that's good. And the levy that Bascom put on is 1.2 mils, which equals $12 on the average, $12, it's 12 cents on $100 of valuation. So that's, on a $100,000 home, costs you $120 a year. And to me, that makes more sense than,
How big is their territory? How many, say, miles or whatever, do they cover according to like Liberty and Bettsville would cover?
looking for a
It's in
county
the-
map.
It's in the back.
Okay,
Yeah.
I could show you, but it's all of Hopewell Township, Loudon Township, and a mile of
Downtown,
the
fast.
Big Springs town, or maybe Seneca. It's one of those two over there, just a mile down in. And so our districts, fire districts and EMS districts, are a little bit different. And
But they're
I can
a lot
email
bigger.
you guys
They'd
those
be a little
those
bit
maps.
bigger, I think. They'd be a little bit bigger in size.
Yeah, they have a very large response area. And just a little more facts and figures, and I realize you guys had an out-of-service issue this year. Bascom went on about 300 runs and transported 260 patients. You guys went on about 90 runs and or about 75 runs and transported 53 patients. So but now I think if you were in service the full 24, you'd probably have double that.
yeah, a little bit more balanced. Yeah.
Right. Bascom did come in here and transport a few times, and that includes their numbers. So, you're a small town, you're a small community. I don't think it would be a great deal of money to try and get together to get volunteers more interest. And another thing I believe that would do is give you a lot more leverage as far as the personnel go. And I know we've had discussions about that in the past as far as some personnel issues, whether you like them or not. When you're paying them, you have a little more control over things like that. Whether it's a true wage an hour, I don't want to get the wage an hour guys upset with me. We're not paying minimum wage. But if you're reimbursing them, you're compensating them in any way, you have a little more sway over.
Skin in the game.
You got skin in the game. And those are my ideas, and I appreciate you guys listening. And I think the board is with me on this, that we know we need to do something, and I'm looking forward to what you guys
Does
have.
Bascom ever have any out-of-service time?
Not this year, they've had 0 hours.
So they're pretty well manned.
If they are manned 24/7, most of the time they have people staying right there at the station. Because a lot of their folks don't live within a 5-minute,
Right.
because if you live within 5 minutes of the station,
Yeah.
I don't care, you can go up to go hang out wherever you want,
Right.
go home, you can do whatever you want. But a lot of their folks live outside of the district. And the question was posed, I think it might have been last night, why would somebody work for that kind of money? When you're 19 years old, you're a college student, and went to EMT school with the goal of being a firefighter paramedic in your future, you'll go sit there at that station for 10 hours a day, study, take a nap,
Good
watch
experience,
TV,
whatever, yeah.
make, if you work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, you go on 2 or 3 runs, you actually learn something, and they're giving you, they're paying you to study. And I realize we're gonna have turnover of that. You're gonna lose these 19-year-olds once they get hired at Toledo Fire or wherever they go. But we can keep turning them over. We can keep training them up, and this can be a crucible to build the next generation of firefighters and paramedics.
So do you think that if we had a similar structure and wages and all those stuff, or compensation packages or whatever, that some of those kids that are maybe going to Bascom now would be, or
There are people that live right in this
area
community
that
that
would
go
be
over there.
able to, do that?
That's
I don't
the
know.
hope. There's no guarantee. But
Yeah, there's no
that's the
guarantees.
hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all supposition, It's like, well, if it works there, it probably worked here. That's really what I'm doing.
Well, we know they struggled beforehand.
They sure did.
And now they
They're-
don't.
They're, I know you mentioned this, they put their township, or their board together right after 9/11. It was between 2001, 2002. They kind of struck when the iron was hot.
Right.
There's a lot of folks that were willing to vote on just about anything if it said fire EMS on it.
Right.
Almost 14 years ago. So you're getting older when time compresses.
Yeah.
And, so I thought it was just a few years ago, but it was almost 14 years ago now. And they've been very successful with it. I'm not saying they don't have problems, because anytime you got people working for you,
Yeah, I think a challenge.
you got all the problems that come with that.
Now, a lot of are a lot of their EMS people also on their fire department?
I would say less than half.
Okay.
But their fire chief is their EMS coordinator,
Harry.
appointed, Harry Miller, appointed by the board. So he answers to the Bascom Joint Fire Board and the Bascom Joint Ambulance Board. He just switches hats between meetings, and the meetings only last about a half an hour each. And most of it's similar to what you're doing here, paperwork and daily business. And they meet once a month, and then they do a training once a month. But they've kind of molded it into a pretty good, smooth operating system. And the only time they really contact me is if there's any kind of issues with medical protocols or people that can't seem to keep their stuff in line as far as legality. If somebody gets a DUI, they call me, because then we suspend them off. But the only thing I ask from an EMT in our area is a valid card, valid EMT license, a valid CPR card, and a valid driver's license. The rest of the personnel-related issues are managed at the district level, and then if somebody violates something that, we deal with it from that, and that's our medical director, Dr. Fitzpatrick, that gets involved. All the day-to-day station house chores, and somebody doesn't do dishes or they leave a mess, that's dealt with locally.
Thank God.
Yeah, 'cause I'd be running everywhere trying to put out little fires. And I kind of want to bring that up because I know that everybody has problems, and I'm here to help you with them. But really, I think what we need to do is look at our history and how impressive it is, and then if we want to keep doing this, we got to grow with the times. And volunteer EMS is getting harder to do. It's just tough to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you
Appreciate
guys
it.
for coming.
Not gonna talk?
Yeah, I didn't know that. He's more eloquent than me.
I've been doing EMS since I was a kid, so it's about the only thing I know how to do. You put me in where he has to do what he does,
You don't
I
like
stink up the
ditches?
joint. I don't know anything about ditches. So it's hard. Get cars out of them. I appreciate your guys' time.
Thank you very much.
If you have any
Thank you for
questions
coming.
for me,
Thanks.
I'm available, so,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very much.
Try to get
Bye
home
now.
before the snow hits.
Yeah. Good luck.
Oh,
with
it's
that.
hit.
It's already.
It's hit. It's about that deep already.
Really been.
Good.
good
How
to
about
see
you?
you.
Good to see you too.
Very good.
Okay. We'll put April on here next.
Take care. Bye-bye.
See you, April.
Did we, okay, the financial report?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know where I was. I was busy listening to them.
I just
John.
wanted to,
Yeah, this was at the hospital. I wanted to bring it to you. There was nobody else out there.
Oh, okay.
That's the best I wanted. I figured I'd bring it to you.
Okay, April's talking now, so okay.
yeah, everybody be quiet. I just wanted to go over, we just had our park board meeting Sunday night, so I just wanted to kind of
go over everything for you guys. The polar bear plunge, we raised $1,147 from that.
Yeah, great
So
job.
that's awesome, although I still want to raise another $1,000, so keep that in mind as I. But we do have wood for 2 picnic tables that Steve Shiley's going to take and do. We have enough out at the park. The Boy Scouts was there also on Sunday and told us that they're estimating around 6 tables that they can make. It's going to cost them an estimated $570 to make those. They still have to get everything approved yet, but this is just kind of their, planning stages right now. And if it is approved, then they're going to start seeking out donations through like the Legion and like some other affiliated groups with the Boy Scouts. They're going to start there first. We're going to seal them, the tables, after, we get some. I've gotten quotes from Lowe's. Today, actually, 2 different people sent me the same thing on another company around here that makes picnic tables. So I'm going to get in contact with them and see if I can't bargain with them a little bit more to get it even cheaper than what Lowe's is going to give us then. So we're going to, like I said, seal the tables, and then we're going to dedicate a table to anybody who jumped in the polar plunge. They're going to get to sign it, and then we're going to have it somehow sealed so then it stays preserved forever or whatever. So our spring cleanup, we're still planning on that. Got some fundraiser ideas for that. I have come in contact with someone who's going to give us fill dirt. All we need to do is provide a truck to just haul the dirt, and then we can get some fill dirt in at the park then. So,
Fill dirt by, it can't have anything in it, or?
Well, it depends on where Brittany, I think, wants to put it. Like, she's got a couple different ideas, correct, as to where she's going to put it.
Because I get a couple 100 ton of it out here.
Okay, well, yeah, all right. Okay. I don't know. Okay, I'll ask, is it clean or dirty? Is
It's
it
dirt.
Well, I know, but is it clean dirt or has it got crap in it?
It's got rocks in it.
Okay, all right. But she might.
Might have to screen it or something with it.
Yeah. Little League, right now I'm not really sure if we're even going to have enough for a team. I'm working on that right now. Thursday they have movie night up at the school, so I'm going to go up there and sit and just kind of pass out Little League forms and see what the feedback is with the kids, if we're going to have a team, or I've already come in contact with Jason Ward over in Old Fort to see if we couldn't merge our Little League teams with Old Fort then. But at the same time, I'm not ready to give up our Little League over here, so I'm trying to negotiate with Jason to at least still have a couple games over here at our park so that we're not completely giving everything up then. And he said that it might take a little talking, but possibly he might be able to get people on board because there may be an overflow then if our kids come over, so they may need another couple fields to play on. So, but in that sense, also the fence needs fixed. We may have a softball team up at the school this year. Right now they have enough kids. We don't know if that's going to change or not. I don't think they're going to have a baseball team, but so that will definitely need to be fixed. I think Brittany said like March 1st is when like the first practices and stuff start, but we're still trying to advertise for lifeguards, which I'm hoping that the city, the village will put some ads in the papers too. They have classes at the Y going on. I can't remember the dates of those, but also for that we have came up with some different park pass pricing that I need for you guys to review and see if possibly this would be an option for us to do. We've looked at individual pricing. We've added that on there maybe as an incentive for just maybe a single person to come in, and then we would like to run a special for the out of district. Instead of $80, have it be $65 until like May 15th, and then after that it jumps back up to the $80.
Just kind of like an early bird.
Yeah. So, and then maybe those, we could pass them out at Lakota, Old Fort, and then if the schools do merge, then, we of course would offer hopefully that discount of in-district to Old Fort then as well, since we would be Old Fort, so maybe that would bring more people in as well. So we just would need, of course, your approval on that. And then I'm going to send out banners too. We agreed that even if we don't have a Little League program, we can still maybe get some people to sponsor some banners. And we talked about lining them down the fence instead of like back on the back, so then as people's driving into the park, they can see the banners as they come in instead of them being on the fence way back there. So, and I think that's all that I had for you guys. So.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, I think you've done a wonderful job on that polar bird jump and that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was great for the first one.
I met my goal. My goal was 15 sponsors, and I wanted 25 jumpers, and I think we ended up with like 16 sponsors, and or I met my goal either way, but we only had like 24 jumpers, I think, or 23, but I wanted 25, so it was very close to what I wanted. And from what I have read, Carmi's over in Tiffin, their first jump only got them 25 people as well. So I thought that was pretty good for us on our first jump.
Now that, the $94 for the picnic tables, is that just strictly the lowest price, or you could just have people maybe in town would like to donate money to buy one, or how's it?
Right, like
how's that go?
anybody can donate. Like I've encouraged anybody to donate money to towards the park, to the new picnic tables. Lowe's quote was that they could assemble and deliver for $80 a picnic table. Those were for 6-foot tables. Or we could assemble and pick up for $75. So for that extra $5, it's almost worth it for them to assemble them and deliver them.
That's kind of a no-brainer.
Right. So, and the other company, I'm still going to see if maybe they can't, do that. But in that sense too, we talked about having people sponsor tables then in memory of, donated by. And instead of a plaque, I personally would rather have it engraved in the picnic table so that people can't chip off the plaques or, take them off or they beat around or anything. It'd always be in that picnic table. So when somebody went out there looking, there it was.
How much are you asking for a donation to get the table in there?
To do the engraving?
Yeah.
We were only going to charge like $40, $50 maybe for something like that. $40.
$30, $140 a table, something like that.
Pardon?
$130, $140 a table to have family in memory of engraved in, something like that.
$130?
No, just asking.
We were just thinking $40 to have someone's name, like if John wanted to.
Are you thinking table and engraving all
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Oh, table. Oh, yeah.
engraved.
I mean, we could make it like a bulk deal if that came. I was kind of waiting to see what
I
our.
wouldn't mind doing that for Virgil and Mary.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that'd be nice, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the response that most people. I've heard that from a lot of people. I would I'd pay to sponsor a table, have one donated in memory of someone, and if we do that, I want to make it special. I don't just want to have, like I said, a plaque that somebody's going to chip off next year. I want to have it something that if I go out there and we dedicate one to Grandpa Sam, it's going to be there where I can find it, next year. So.
That would be a bad idea
I think it's
for
a good idea.
that. Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't do that.
Oh, sure, I would think so.
Yeah, and anybody starts chipping off Mary's plaque, she's coming down.
Somebody's butt.
She's coming down, and you don't want to see what's going on.
But that's all, that I've got. And
We thank
Thank you
you.
very much for all the
If you
help.
get more information, let me know.
Yeah, we thank you for coming and giving your report.
I like doing it, so and I like to see the
You can
response
tell.
that I'm getting. Yeah.
You do very good with it.
Oh, and we got a $5,000 grant. Mr. Less at the school, he's a science teacher. He had went and applied for an outdoor
Education.
an outdoor education center. And he got the $5,000 grant, so with that, he will be able to purchase like recyclable trash cans, and he's going to make like a rock bed with a flower rock bed, and it's going to have just like little things in it, but the kids will be out there doing that. So with that $5,000 as well, that will go towards the park. And then I also had applied for that $500 grant for the fishing days out at the park, and we got that as well.
Oh, good.
So in June we'll have a fishing days.
But
and-
Angela, that $500 that he's talking about is not that. They're gonna mail the check to you for that fishing.
That's what she told me, but then John told me something else. She
I
told me
thought the bank told you it was that.
Something was deposited in our checking, that's how you figure out.
she told me that they were
Says
stoked.
poles and
outside.
stuff and that.
And that's what that is.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they got the
Yeah.
checking account numbers. I don't have
That's
any.
what I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
By Roger Young.
Do you have the grant?
I'll look at the
Because I
paperwork
just
that I
need
have.
copies of
Okay.
everything that you submitted and then I can
Okay.
look over it.
All right. And then I'm also gonna look into applying for another grant too out for the park, so.
And did you apply for anything else called Step Outside?
Nope.
It's got to be done. And it was deposited like the 10th of January.
Maybe somebody was just really nice and donated some money.
Yeah, but they couldn't have got our,
Yeah.
didn't have our bank account on.
Cause I don't think I filled out that grant that I had.
It was like Target, they already has it.
I guess that's the good end of it. We got the money, but they didn't take it.
Yeah, they put it in and then take it out.
Yeah, ours branch and
It's no longer read, no longer read.
Okay, thank you, April.
Thank you very much.
We'll carry on here keep going here. So reports from committees, finance, budget, audit, Scott.
Like I said, everything I'm looking at right now, this is where I'll live for 3 years. I'm really evaluating this meeting, see where we're at.
Anybody got any questions for Scott? If not, we'll go on to the police, Melissa.
Citations for the month of January, there were only 2. We had one warning, we had 6 adult complaints, and we had 4 assists with other agencies. Sheriff Elderberry sent out letters to all village departments requesting that village now take over supervising. John Beckley has turned in his resignation effective 1/31/2014, and Officer Tyler Nagy has also turned in his resignation effective 2/1/14.
I thought it said 2/11.
No, it was 2/1 Saturday.
Tyler's going to full-time over to Bloomingdale.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to copy
Do we know what the cost was for the flooring from Snyder's?
It was
970 something.
And that's already in, done?
Laminate, isn't it?
Anybody got any questions for Melissa? No, we'll go to, thanks Melissa. Even though you took some of my stuff, but that's okay.
I've got a question, it's not really for Melissa, it might be, I don't know. Where does the village stand with the search for a police chief, or, I'm not
We
sure
have
what the
10
status is.
we have 10 resumes right here,
Oh,
and we're going to sit down and go through them, and I'm gonna give them to Rick to kind of
Yeah.
background check them.
Make sure we don't have
Yeah,
other issues,
so
right?
we don't have any issues with the fire, with the police chief.
okay. So when and how do those resumes get reviewed, at a council meeting, or?
We can do it, and if, I would like to have the council sit down and we all do it together and, or we can appoint
Well, I
a
think,
couple people to do
I
it.
think the first move is what to do is vetting, to make sure that we don't have any issues, and then if there's issues with any of them, we'll take them out of the mix right off the bat, so we don't have issues. And then we'll see where we're at with the,
What's left?
what's left.
Yeah.
And
Or
then we'll,
who's left, not what's left.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Is there a cost to do a background check on each of the 10? Or a cost per, I was just wondering if we did the reverse, like if we choose 5 and then do the check, it'd be half the cost of researching a background check on all 10.
This is just
Cursory background check?
cursory.
To start with, and I think as you get closer to your approved, then you get more defined what you're, you make sure that
Yeah.
you cover a butt and you don't have any issues.
Okay.
Fire, Steve?
Had 9 calls for the month of January, yearly total is 9.
The department had a total of 120 calls for 2013. Siren parts have been ordered, just waiting for them to come in. The department had 3 members taking the FF1 transition class. And congrats to AJ Wise for completing his EMT B class for Brandon Eubank, and to Brandon Eubank for completing him DFF class. Had 2 rear tires replaced on T64. In doing so, we found brake drums cracked, waiting for new brake drums to come in. T64 had its annual ladder testing done. The aerial and ground ladders all passed. The association is having its 12th annual reverse raffle at Old Zims, March 8, 2014. Tickets are available by contacting the station at 419-986-5141. I don't see a price on that though.
$50.
I think
Is it
50 bucks a
50?
piece, isn't it?
$50 and $15 for each meal ticket after.
Okay. The department is looking into funding for a new set of jaws for life. The quote came back for $17,000 for a new cutter, spreader, and hydraulic unit. And that's it.
Because our jaws are kind of outdated and they don't take care of enough pressure. Okay, clean up, Joyce.
No, don't have anything except cleaning up our snow here and there.
I've been doing it for you, what are you lying about?
I had to shovel my own driveway yesterday because you was over there fiddling around in the
I was
snow.
getting a snow yesterday.
Yeah, he was scooping the town's parking lot and there's
She's
his poor
so
old
busy
mother.
with Netflix,
out
she
there.
don't even know what day it is.
I can't find a crying towel right
Oh, I
now.
did, yeah. Well, I needed the exercise.
Okay, water, sewer, street, John.
Okay, on water, I gave Scott and Steve a copy of a bid that I got from Klaus Electric. Originally, we had talked about soft starts. This one has AC drives and soft starts on there.
Right.
So, the price difference, I think, is like $1,900.
Yeah, I think it's the right way to go. I think it's forward,
The only thing that may change is we're talking with them about getting us a quote on waterproof enclosure, because the water main runs through the well house about knee level, and if there's anything that ever breaks in there, we'll lose everything in there. So if we're gonna do it, we might as well do it right. And he hasn't got back with me on a waterproof enclosure yet. Other than that, that's really all I got for water.
I think, well, we just gotta kind of vote on move forward, don't we? I mean, that's.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I think,
yeah.
It's gonna pay.
It's got to be
Yeah.
for it.
I had Larry and Angela raise the appropriations for water to cover this, and the tower needs repainted this year.
I see it pops in that stuff
So,
over here.
Was you painting it or?
No. Yeah, I got a roller about this big.
And we just got
So-
that paid off like last year, didn't we? Didn't we just pay that off early? Like,
Well, it's
Yeah.
time to go now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how long it lasts.
And now we don't have to take out a loan for it.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So we did raise the appropriations. I got a couple quotes on that from Kessler Tank, so I could make sure that we're in the ballpark.
Right.
So we're good on appropriations for water, even with that and the water tower.
Good.
So should be all right.
And I think though, and we had 3 water main breaks this month.
Yeah.
And really nice weather.
Yeah.
That was just a soft start. It was comparing the two prices.
Well, it doesn't ever do it when it's nice out.
No, it don't. It don't.
Yeah, I want to publicly thanks John for all the work on the
Yeah.
streets
Yes.
and
Yes.
doing with all the water lines and the stress and, you know, so far nobody got stranded in the streets too bad, so I think we're doing
No.
good this year.
He's been,
No.
I watched him go Sunday night, he's going down there with the plow, knocked the snow away. Oh, man.
Sunday was quite the surprise.
Yeah,
I
the
didn't
price would be
expect
up.
it.
Caught him off guard, he was sleeping.
Sewer, we found a main, a manhole over on 12 on the other side of the tracks that was leaking it. The boot was actually pushing in to the manhole off of the main,
Oh, wow.
and
Actually showed up.
yeah.
Someone had it.
We caught it before it ruptured and then we had a mess.
That's what it looked like pouring in around it.
Wow.
So we got a hold of Bluffton Precast, and they got us in contact with a company that, instead of digging the outside of the manhole up and replacing everything, they come in and drill a 3/8 hole through there, and they squeeze some stuff in there that's activated in the water. I don't know how to explain it, but when it pours down in there, the water drags it back in with it, and it expands and seals it up. So we went ahead and I know that's over our $1,000 limit, but it was about $1,300, and we had him do 2 manholes. We found another one that was leaking, not quite that bad, but it cut our flume in half in a day. So
paid for it the right way.
Normally when we have a big thaw and a bunch of runoff, see that particular line runs under the ditch and out to the park. So all that water that's soaking through the bed of the ditch into the sewer trench, that's what's coming in.
Wow.
And we knew it was clear water coming in. So we normally would get up into the hundreds of thousands in a big, and our highest pumpage was 79,000 last weekend. So that's just amazing. The amount that we'll save in electricity from the pumps and the wear and tear on the equipment.
Well, that means we don't have to do any more smoke testing to piss everybody off.
We probably still should. I mean, it dropped down to like 53,000 a day for a couple days there, which is where we should be. That's about right in line with what we're pumping in the water plant.
Right.
But then when everything did thaw out, we went up to that 79,000, and then it dropped back off within a couple days to 65, I think it was today. So we still got salt pumps and stuff tied in, but that was major finding that up there. So.
Haven't all those little thingies over there tell you where the breaks and stuff are under the tower? How do you know where to go on these things?
We just went through town and started lifting manholes and looking at them. Yeah. No, it's not as simple as looking at the chart. No. I wish.
You don't have the graphics for it?
Yeah. No, water, we've been real fortunate with the 3 water breaks that we had. They surfaced. Normally they go right in the sewer trench, and we know that our pumpage is up, and we have to take locators out and just start listening all over town to try and find the doggone things, but we're pretty fortunate. The one over by Williams, Roger Williamson's place, that one took quite a while to fix. That one was broke right at a valve. We had to replace a valve and everything. So we knew it was leaking at 5 o'clock in the morning. I plowed past it and seen it. And but we had to wait till we get a couple other guys from Sycamore and from Nevada to come over and give us a hand. So that's why that one didn't get fixed till 7, 8 o'clock at night.
The lights you had, where'd you get those, man? It was like daylight down there that
You
night.
guys approved me to
Did they
purchase
really?
them a couple years ago.
Yeah, we got them a couple years ago, Joe.
Yeah.
See, a lot of other people don't know this stuff. I'm not the only one.
That's why you brought it up, so it'll be on
So everybody went out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
reminder.
I tell you
They
what,
are
them
nice.
lights are godsend
yeah.
at night. Yeah, because the headlights and flashlights really suck. For street, you guys obviously know what's going on with that. We had a little snafu with Seneca County. Normally we contract with them to get our salt from them, and I called. You're supposed to give them 24 hours notice before you haul. And I called them and told them that I was going to come get some, and I got a call back from them telling me that we never turned in a contract. Well, they couldn't find a copy of it, and guess what? Neither could I. So I don't know if we ever signed one this past summer for it or not. They let me get a bunch already this year. So I got a hold of Brandon Shaw from S&S Builders, because he does a lot of parking lots and stuff. And he gets it from an outfit it's actually out of Indiana, but they got a place in Toledo. And I just had them deliver me 23 tons. So, and actually the cost was $80 a ton delivered. I can get it cheaper than that if you sign up in July. And the cost, it was $72 a ton that I was paying the county anyhow. So I think right around in there. And the wear and tear on the dump truck, fuel, my time, it's worth it. If
Yeah,
I can
have to
get
order.
signed up earlier, I'll do, I mean, 23 ton is about all we can hold in there without the weather getting to it.
Right.
So if I can get signed up with them again in July before, and get locked in at a decent price, then I'll probably just do that again instead of going with the
Right.
county.
Yeah, for $9 difference, you
Yeah,
can't mess
I
around
can,
with.
I can get it a
with,
lot cheaper that way.
going after it.
So you got 23 ton now? You got it now?
I got 23, but we don't have 23 ton no
No,
more.
he's working.
Oh,
He said to me the other day, you know, yeah.
No,
That was delivered about 3 weeks ago, so.
yeah, we spent a lot of money just on fuel and.
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff.
I bet I've got $500-600 in fuel just for January, so.
Huh? No, he just got the granular.
what would you guess you might need for the rest of the year? Just ballpark for the,
So,
yeah,
so
so
well, you can't guess.
it's hard to say.
I mean, it all depends on.
Not another 23 ton or
I hope
more?
not.
Man.
Well, yeah, if
No
we
way
do,
to
it's
know.
gonna be like another January.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, we've got a couple heavy months
Yeah,
coming up
yeah.
yet.
Yeah,
There would be.
Well,
we're talking about another
February's
snowfall on
starting
Saturday.
Yeah,
that's
right.
So, you know,
Well, the thing that we've been getting pretty lucky is, I guess it's not lucky for us, but when it gets cold like that, you can't salt anyhow.
No.
We don't
Right.
do anything.
Right.
So by the time it warms up enough to salt, a lot of it's melted off. I've just been salting intersections these
Right.
last 2 storms
Yeah.
because,
Yeah, I agree, that's probably the best thing to
and
do.
it's still, well, it was pretty icy after that last time. So I got 9s and I just spread 9s. That was all I put down last time. Was
That worked pretty
stone.
good.
half the time county, that's all they put out.
Right, right.
That's all they're doing.
So, and until it warmed up, you know, it got above 20 before I saw the intersections and everything slushed up in a day.
Yeah.
Big thing is the sun coming out for a couple hours.
Yeah,
The sun
that
come
helps.
out for a couple hours. It takes it off pretty quick.
I agree, John, when somebody else said you do a great job on the streets. But I do wonder, I never noticed, do you do any of Route 12 or State Street? State takes care of the whole inside of the village. I've never noticed if you were doing that or not.
But I don't think take care of downtown parking, or the,
I
Yeah,
did see
just-
you had cars parked up there though.
yeah, you always.
Well, I would think that the blue one would get tired of shoveling, but I don't know. I plowed them in pretty good last time. Actually, this year has been the best year in the 12 years that I've been doing it here. We've just had a couple cars here and there.
You can get around most of them,
Yeah, there's just that one that likes to park there all the time, and there's some new people in one of the places, and I'll have to have a talk with them. But it's not as bad as it used to be. Before there'd be half a dozen cars parked up there, and I've never had anybody towed, even though the signs say you can. But they're always parked there, right in front of a sign. They're always
But who reads?
they're always in front of the sign.
I don't mean them. you know.
So,
That's
yeah,
the other guy. But that buck, that,
he moved the blue car tonight.
did he?
It was gone tonight before I
Probably
come back
right,
up
right.
here.
Would it
So,
be just as easy for them to park in the parking lot out there, or are they afraid
They
to?
don't wanna walk that far.
yeah, I must not want to walk.
Is that right?
Well, the ones in the apartments aren't the bad ones. That Jeep is the only one that was there this last time. She's been pulling out back in the parking
Oh, I
lot.
see.
But right across the street from her there was a blue car. So I plowed it in on both ends. He had to shovel for hours to get the front of that out last time. He had to have. But, well, hey,
You gotta
shovel a
put it
little bit
somewhere.
or pay a tow bill. It's one or the other.
Shoveling would be a lot cheaper for him.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
anywho, that's all I got for you guys. But we do need
Do we just make
a motion on the water.
I need to
yeah.
make a motion to order this equipment for the water pumps,
The VFDs.
VFDs, yeah.
I
Is there-
second that.
Is there any requirement for bidding that out or not? No.
Anything under 25,000 doesn't have to be bid,
And these guys know exactly
Yeah,
what's
Yeah,
going
I'm
on.
getting that impression.
And I
You're
mean, they
wasting
do
so
it,
much
they
time.
work with them, so they
Yeah.
think this is the very best for us.
Yeah,
I
can tell.
actually originally wanted to do something different, but these guys,
I could
give
tell
me
that
a
the
little
last few months
insight
you've been
on
talking
what was
about it.
going
You
on,
guys
so.
were helpful knowing that.
They do it.
Right.
They work with it, yeah.
That's what we do.
For the money.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So we got a motion and a
Got a
second.
motion.
Yep.
$1,500 more than what
Okay,
I
Steve?
estimated.
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Rod?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Joyce? Yeah.
No, that's from
Well, I think it's enforced.
I've only dealt with those.
You got anything on zoning, Scott?
And I had a meeting, I was down here, nobody showed up, so just enjoyed the weather.
Maybe this year, maybe this year.
Okay, we'll go on to old business, where I have placed a old business pretty much where I was gonna bring up about the two resignations that we had.
So realistically, when you think, realistically, on the police, once we has a chance to vet them and see kind of where we're at with resumes, when do you want to get together and do that? I don't know, want to wait another month or,
No, I think we need to do it
yeah,
ASAP.
yeah.
Did we decide anything on the two girls?
No, well, Stephanie's never showed up for work again. I mean, she never got completely trained.
So, as I understand it, there was.
Angie,
She was actually in reserve status.
yeah, she's in reserve.
I mean, that's all was set up and there's no,
Yeah,
so I don't know what was promised her, so as far as you know, is it still considered reserve status?
yeah, she's on reserve
Yeah.
status. I mean, now that these guys resign and stuff, I mean, that could change. I mean,
Yeah.
she could apply for part-time.
It seems really difficult to backtrack. I remember one of the meetings, I don't know if it was last month or the one before, where she stated that she was told by Don Mason such and such, and I think it was Rob sitting here made, if that's what you were told, we'll make sure you get paid. But there's no way really to verify that.
Yes, sir, they signed the paper, she signed the paper that where I swore in at, and it says auxiliary reserve. So, I mean, that's over.
Right.
It's done.
So if he
I mean,
didn't say anything, it's irrelevant, because the paper trail should be the deciding factor.
Well, what she signed it where it said auxiliary reserve, so,
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
The caveat on that is we said, if that's true, then we'll pay. And we said,
Right.
and Scott
Right.
said, we're a fact-based group, that's,
Right.
you know, we've
Right.
gotta go by the,
Right,
whatever it is, not just your word.
right.
Right.
That's why we have the whole thanks for all this
I
thing.
mean, that's all we got to go on is that piece of paper where I swore her in and she signed it, and it has auxiliary reserve marked right on what she signed.
Okay, I guess the other thing, or is there any news back on the independent, review, I guess? I mean, is that something we're gonna have this
Well,
month yet?
we'll go
or-
into executive session and
Okay.
talk on that when that time comes,
Okay,
okay?
okay,
Will that be tonight?
Yes.
Oh.
Most definitely.
fair enough.
Okay, anybody got any other old business to bring up? If not, we'll, under new business, we'll approve the magistrate court.
I'll make a motion.
Read yours, you know.
This one's Dan.
I glanced at it, not familiar with it, but yeah, I glanced at it. And that's just money's taken in on traffic
Fines,
lines and
like,
such.
fines like
Yeah.
that.
Is that always traffic, nothing but
Right.
traffic?
Do we have to approve two?
Yes. You have
Yeah,
to
there's
read-
2
yeah.
months, yeah,
Yeah.
for January and,
December.
or one's December?
Yeah.
January, one's February.
Oh,
But it's for December, January is for December.
Right, yeah.
okay,
Oh.
so
Oh.
January you
is
can't
for
vote on,
January.
Right.
but February you can,
Right.
okay?
Okay, I make a motion to accept January.
Okay, Joyce, you made a motion, what was that?
Yeah.
Okay,
The first one, the first one, January.
Who seconded it?
I'll second it. Here, this is February.
Okay, Joyce,
Yeah.
Scott,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
We can't vote on that.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
well, I thought that was the January one.
Well,
No,
Right, it's for
January is really
December.
December.
Yeah.
December is.
Gotcha.
You can vote on the next one, the February one will be January.
Yes, Steve said yes.
But this one is,
Well, yeah.
The February one is for
It's for January, you're always a month behind.
but you don't want me to vote on that?
You, no, you can vote on February,
But
you
we're
can't
on
vote
this
on,
one.
yeah, because that's December, okay?
Gotcha.
Okay, we'll need a motion for
I'll
January.
make a motion for February.
January,
No, we're.
or February, okay.
I'll second that.
next month, Rob.
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bill,
Yeah.
Stan,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yeah.
Scott.
Yes.
Okay, then I got this
600
Verizon
kids,
bill for
yeah.
Phoenix software cruisers, what Melissa was talking about. This is the letter we got from, Sheriff Eccleberry. As you know, Grant paid for the use of the unlimited Verizon airtime needed to be able to access our office in the Pro Phoenix software. The funding for this grant ran out 6 months ago, but we continued to pay for our department's use, or your department's use. However, you will need to set up your own account with Verizon by the first of the year. Monthly fees for this are $44.05, which brings it to $528.60 per year per department for the year. If you would like the name of the rep we have for Verizon, contact Lieutenant Hesh, and he will be able to provide that to you. There should be plenty of time for you to contact them and have it up and running by the end of the month. I know budgets are tight, but this is a small amount if taken care of by your department. Thanks, Bill.
We need that for access, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's.
that's, yeah.
So,
Yeah, the tough book, and it's all, we're on the Pro Phoenix system all together, Tiffin, Seneca County, so when you get a call, everybody will be able
right.
to see it. GPS is on there, so they know where we are. There's times where we can't tell them exactly where we're at for traffic stops and that, so it's, you know, internet connection, little jetpack underneath that
Okay.
powers.
Well, it just costs doing business, is it?
Yeah,
Is
well, it has
we gotta
to be,
do it,
yeah.
So we have to do it, so.
So we need a motion, we just need a motion to do this.
You guys speak.
You gotta speak up, she can't see behind
me.
you. You gotta-
Joyce.
Anybody second it?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Does that interact just with the Seneca County or also state troopers at all?
No, state troopers are on their own thing, radio traffic and everything, they're on their own. It goes through, actually goes through Tiffin PD, the server is at Tiffin PD,
Oh.
and we all run off of that.
Joyce,
Yeah.
Stan,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.